Well, here's an idea for you. Imagine if I can just do this in one take, beginning to end. Let's try it. Let's try it. This is take one. We are just doing this. It's going to work. And then we're going to put it into the podcast. I feel like too many episodes of this podcast have started with me apologizing for the gap between episodes. But the episode you're about to hear was recorded 5 months ago, which I admit is a longer gap than usual. I hope you'll forgive me for that. Life all just got a little bit too much for my tiny brain back there, which is not an excuse. But I am sorry. If you're an old listener, back for more, then thank you for your patience and your love and your kindness. If you're a new listener, welcome in. Grab a seat. You'll be glad to know that whilst there are 55 previous episodes, they are not required listening. Mostly. And whoever you are, wherever you are, know that you are loved. You are valued and appreciated and wanted. And whatever it's taken to get you through to today, I'm really proud of you. So, without further ado, let me present to you the World to Rights podcast, episode 56, otherwise known as It's Been So Long, I Forgot What We Spoke About.
What a fucking mess. Hi guys, are you recording by the way? I didn't even...
I was not.
You were not. I'm glad
I
I
am
didn't do
now.
it full.
Jesus.
Hi guys, welcome back. Do you remember who we are? I don't even know how long it's been. Like, it's probably not even been... But, like, since the last post, because it wasn't that long. Was it that long ago?
Oh, since the last post? Not that long.
Depends how long this episode takes to come out, though, I guess. So it might be a while.
Oh, hi. It's me, here in the editing room. I have a feeling there'll be a few of these as we move through the podcast. I just want to say I do not appreciate a foreshadowing on this one. I don't know whether this will be out this week. It very much depends on how things go. But, I'll try my best, as I always do. And you'll know when you're listening to this which way it went. And yes, the way it went was not good. Damn you, past Chris.
You're stranded in York, like...
If you never hear this, if you're hearing this and it's been a couple of years, I'd like you to know that I've died in York. And it's taken this long for them to sort out the release of the episode. For the avoidance of doubt, I did not die in York.
At least it's a pretty place to die.
It is a pretty place to die. It is a pretty place to die.
I have a question for you. Oh, go on.
Well, okay, so it was a while ago, which is why I'm slightly concerned that it's going to be one of those things we never are able to come back to. But you said before you had seen something on Facebook that would make me angry.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh my god, you remember it? This is really bad.
No, I did think about bringing it up the episode after I mentioned it, but it didn't feel appropriate because it's one of those ones that would probably take a fair amount of time.
Alright, well, I'm ready.
Let me find it. It might take me a moment because it was a couple of months ago now. Yeah, I don't even...
I'm glad you know what I'm talking about, at least. That's...
It is... It will piss you off. Yeah, there's no...
Doesn't need to be worried about it.
What's his fucking last name?
Just a quick note, I suppose. Yes, I know there are already too many of these, and it's only going to get worse. I don't know why Kat's face is bathed in white light when we recorded this. I don't think I knew at the time, and I certainly don't know now. And if you're only listening to the audio version of this, enjoy making sense of it. Also, it's available on YouTube, so yay. Okay, bye.
Basically, it's a guy I went to primary school with. I don't know how much.
Oh, okay.
Who decided to post a bunch of homophobic, transphobic stuff. He's doing a podcast, and it just. I just ignore it because I know he's just trying to fucking get a rise out of people and get clickbait and go down that line of things. But I can't remember what it was. Something sent me over the edge and I started a Facebook war with him.
Sweet Lord above.
Oh.
You did tell me you had screenshots at the time, so I don't know if that helps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can find screenshots. The first couple of posts will just piss you off.
Oh, inevitably.
One day ago, LGBTQ community are the most protected, yet you act like you're the most victimised. It's total bollocks. You have ruined women's rights, what it is to be a woman. It's encouraged paedophilia. What the fuck? You've got laws to protect you being misgendered or misinterpreted. Kids are now being made to question themselves. Even parents are falling for it. No disrespect. Even the people that are
Sorry, I just thought it was getting a bit much though. You know? Kind of a lot of hate in that. So I thought maybe we could just take some time out, you and I. Just chill here for a bit. It's nice here, isn't it? It's kind of cozy. Just us and the music. You ever think that maybe there's far too much hate in the world for people who just are living as who they are? Just a thought, really. I think everyone should just take a moment to be like this. See? It's less escapism, isn't it? It's good. It's good. Do you think we should we go back and see what's going on? Because I'm enjoying this, but I feel like no, let's we'll go back to the podcast. All right, let's do it. It'll be okay. We'll be there together.
Oh my god! And these are all in the last 2 days. He just you know when you're like, I don't believe in doxing people, but he's making it very tempting. Just glitter bombing. Have you seen the screenshots yet?
Okay. Alright, okay. Oh. Oh. What?
Oh yeah, so I screenshotted
No.
one of his podcast clips, which said, but right now, women are fatter than ever, and women aren't offering anything on the table. Now it's all. They don't cook anymore. Oh, these weren't in the right order, but yeah, like you get the
I get it.
From.
I've also just discovered that one of the people who's commented, I used to go to school with, and always thought they were kind of okay, but so that's fun.
Someone else from our school as well that we were both friends with was backing me, so I was like,
okay,
I
good.
think at least, but like, He's got so many like mutual friends as well.
Immediately, I'm just going to mute this person. Hang on a second. An excuse to remove some more friends. There we go. Good.
You know, you're like, there's got to be some fucking trauma that has led to someone being this hateful. Like,
So I actually saw this thing recently. On Twitter of all places, which kind of links to this. Yeah, I mean that dates it. Back then, it was still called Twitter, and I was still using it. And now it's called X, and I am an X user. As in, I left it. So EX user, not an X. Elon Musk has even fucking ruined that for me, which is the reason I bring it up, I suppose. So in the UK recently, there's been like this sudden, maybe it's not sudden, maybe it's just that it's more visible rise in transphobia. Like, it's gone through the fucking roof recently. And Lord only knows why. Like, insane. But so there's been a lot of scaremongering and things. Because the current theory is that men will transition to women in order to use female toilets and also
what?
be pedophiles. This seems to be their like big thing. And so I saw this tweet the other day and it really made me angry because it was like someone saying, I'll see if I can find it, I'll see if I can find this because this was insanely offensive and just fundamentally I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. No,
I
I don't.
genuinely haven't met a trans person that I've felt like were creepy or like, I don't know, like uncomfortable to be around. Every trans person I've met has been absolutely lovely. I think a lot of trans people, because they've had such a hard time, have a lot more understanding,
Oh,
a
I
lot
hear
more
you.
worldly.
So someone tweeted and said, "Oh, I can't believe women are being forced to capitulate and allow men into their bathrooms and safe spaces." And saying, "All right, fundamental misunderstanding of what's happening, but let's not even start with that one." And so someone replies and says, "Woman in my 40s here, haven't capitulated to anything. I'm just not remotely bothered if trans people are trans people, because I think human beings have a right to live how they choose to." I would question maybe how they choose to.
Yeah, that makes it sound like it's a choice to be trans.
But the intention is at least there. And this person
Yeah.
replies, "That's great. So when you are in the ladies' room and one has to wash his penis in front of you, you won't mind. And a grandchild who is with you is what it is." And I was
Who's
like,
washing their penis and that, like,
right,
I get
so this is
what?
exactly what I said to
Huh?
my sister when I started to watch. Sorry, because I said it to her, and I was like, I need to ask you a question. And I need you to be honest with me. Do people think that in men's bathrooms we go in and wash our penises?
Do you put your
Just
penis under the tap? Is it
do you, do you think we turn on the like we go to the toilet and then we're like, well, better give it a scrub whilst I'm here. Get up on the step ladder to be able to squat over the sink and wash our balls. Is that what you think is happening in a public toilet? No,
I'm like, we'll use
that's
the
not even the
tissue, but
way
most
to wash it. How would you wash it? And why would you wash it there? There is a place where you do that. It's called your own shower at home. At home, not in a public. You would not, because there's no way of doing it in a public bathroom. And I don't even understand the theory. It also, I mean, let's ignore the fact that it clearly just misgenders with when you're in ladies' night and one has to wash his penis in front of you. Like, I don't know if you understand that in the men's toilets, we also have, yes, we have urinals
You have
and we have
cubicles.
cubicles. Also, most men want to spend as little time in there as possible. So much so that the amount of men who come out without washing their hands is almost concerning. That's something you should be legitimate. If you think they're washing
Yeah.
their penis, I've got news for you. Most men can't even be asked to wash their hands. So
You like so I don't know if there's many like women out there who have had to go and use the men's loo because like say the women's loo is shut or whatever. The difference in in hygiene in those you walk into the men's bathroom and it fucking stinks. There's normally piss on the floor. It
yeah.
just like it's disgusting. I just don't even know how there could be like so much of a difference. And don't get me wrong, like public bathrooms as a whole are not clean and not very nice to be in. But there is a huge jump. Like I know from working in pubs, like often if we were cleaning or something, sometimes like I'd have to go in the men's, and it would always be like fucking gross. And you're just like, what are you doing in here? Like you actually have less contact with things. Being like, if you have a penis and you go in the urinal, no part of you is touching anything other than like when you wash your hands and you touch the tap, right? And the door. That's it. If you've got a vagina, you're going in there and you're like putting your arse cheek on the toilet seat. I mean, obviously, if you're going for a shit, like that's different. But like, I
The
how
number
does
of
it go
times
so
I
wrong?
have walked into the like toilets at work and like gone in to use a cubicle and then gone, my God, there isn't a surface in here that you haven't managed to splash over. Like
Yeah,
it's I feel sorry knowing that later on that day the facilities team are gonna come up late to do cleaning and things, look at it and then have to clean that. I'm like,
yeah.
oh dear Lord, I'm so sorry this has happened. It's not even me. So yeah, I don't understand the process that people go through in their mind. Do I have to explain why that's a ridiculous concept? Because I'm not going to. I think it's pretty obvious that, you know, think about that. Just think about what you're saying. Think about the words that you've put together and realize that the vast majority of people are not like, I'm gonna be real. If you have a penis and you want to go and expose yourself in a lady's bathroom, good news. You can just go in and do that. It doesn't require you to
To
do any of the
transition.
prerequisite stuff, because if you're that determined to do it, you're probably just going to walk in and do it. This is not endorsing that. In
But
fact, I'm
does
very
this
much
mean
anti that. I'm not sure that I need to stress this, but I do also feel like I should. So, just to be clear, I am not encouraging that kind of behaviour.
does this mean that this person is saying like trans people who have had a have gender reassignment surgery?
Gender
Is that
reassignment, yeah.
yeah? If you've like are they saying that if the person has had gender reassignment surgery, then it would be okay then?
It
What like
deliberately misunderstands so much of it. That's the thing. It just conveniently ignores. I was reading things about this week because I've just been really fucking angry at seeing this rise in such fucking hatred and it's the fact that they only focus on those who have transitioned to female who still have a penis specifically. That's the so you just completely forget that there are people who transition to male.
yeah
There are people who transition and have gender reassignment surgery. There are people who identify as non-binary. there are so many shades of grey in here, and like it deliberately reduces it to paint men as, and this is the other thing I don't really get. It's so lazy stereotyping. People with a penis
Yeah.
are inherently dangerous, and so you have to control. Like if you allowed them to, they would wear a wig and they would go into a female bathroom and they would wash their penis in a sink. So we can't possibly, and it's the most strange thing is that you sending me screenshots of this guy. This guy seems like the kind of person who would immediately respond to any kind of sexual assault story or anything like that with not all men. And in
Yeah.
the same breath, dares to sit there and suggest that men are inherently dangerous creatures who can't help themselves but expose their penis at any given opportunity. Like, do you not see your own hypocrisy in there? Do you not see your own fundamental? What do you think goes on in people's minds? I don't understand. And it's not based in any reality. It's clearly fundamentally not based in any reality. Because I'm lucky enough to have a lot of trans friends. None of them are dangerous. None of them are doing it for some weird ulterior sexual motive.
Completely. And I
It,
think when people are allowed to live like as themselves, they're happier and therefore they are more likely to have a positive effect on society than a negative one. So
I did a
maybe.
mental health first aid course this week.
Oh, check you out.
I know, and we were talking about various things, and you talk about suicide rates and levels of
Oh,
depression and things, and I forget the exact statistics, but the rate in LGBT plus individuals and especially trans individuals is
yeah, it's
so high
awful.
because you like there's this demonization of them, this stigmatization of them, this mistreatment, the barriers to getting the medical services they need and being able to live as who they are, that so many consider that to the only way
It,
to do it is to take their own lives, and that's like, why would you perpetuate a society that does that to people? Why would you want to make that more of a, I don't get it. It seems like it's unpopular at the moment to say
yeah.
that you support people living as who they are, and I'm not quite sure why that is, but for the avoidance of doubt,
And
I
the
would
thing
say
is,
that both Kat and I are very much, you know, I really hate the word ally sometimes, but it at least fulfills what I'm trying to say, and that, you know, LGBT plus, not ignoring all the other parts of that, you know, it's this big community of people, and at the heart of it is people being able to live as who they are. And I include in that, you know, heterosexual cis people being able to live as they are. Like, who doesn't want that? You know, that's a good way
yeah,
to be able to live as who you are, to love who you love, and that's all that anyone is striving for. I don't understand how you could be so actively against other people having that same kind of thing.
yeah. I think a lot of it comes from obviously like lack of education, lack of uh, experience, in the sense that like this person, for example, posting on Facebook, I really
Mm,
doubt that they know a lot of trans people,
I
because if
don't.
they
Yeah.
did, and if they were friends with them, then I don't see how they could have the same perspective. Um, but I just think like talk to the community, before you say that that community is harming society and failing society. I just don't. Oh my goodness, Pippin! I know. Pippin's outraged. You won't shut up.
There's so much other stuff. I'm like scrolling through. I'm gonna have to end up blocking this guy after I'm
Yeah,
finishing this because
it's hard. It's mentally draining, and I know it's just because he started. He never used to post like to this extent until he decided to start some fucking podcast, and then it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna smash out all these outrageous posts so that I get engagement, so then I get like fucking clout on my podcast. Which why are you that fucking unhappy? Just
that's the thing. Is so like here's one I want to say. It's what was this one?
yeah.
Why is everyone
It's
so depressed? Every day I see people telling the world how depressed they are. This is why you're so miserable. Imagine if you put positives out there. You flying fuckwits. What is wrong
I
with
swear Donald Trump is the only one who will stop all this. Everyone hating on him, but why? He kept peace with Russia, China, Ukraine, and North Korea. Biden has gone and fucked it.
I just cannot.
It's funny. It's just so, like, what?
How sad must you be? I'm depressed. Right. I have depression. I have these things. But this level of sad is far, far beyond that. Like, I can't even begin to. I'm just gonna block that right now. There we go. Let's just block that. I can't.
Yeah.
That's gone from. There was no way I was ever gonna come across it, but I refuse to come across. I cannot even. I
Yeah. At the end of the day, I knew this stuff was out there. I just apparently needed to sneeze. Thanks. Like we know that this stuff exists. People are homophobic, transphobic. Like we know that. But I guess seeing it from someone who's your age, who's gone to the same schools, like had the same education as you, how like from the same town, like our city is not. It's not known for being like
no.
inherently unprogressive. Is that a word? Non-progressive?
Yeah, I wouldn't sit here and call it like a really conservative place.
No.
I would never assume that this stuff is inherent to being here.
And I just I just find it hard when it's that close to home. Literally.
It makes it more, and this is a very privileged thing to say, and I understand that entirely. But living as a cisgender male, there's obviously things that I don't have to face every day. And so to an extent, I can kind of choose not to pay attention to it. Or I can choose to not, because it's not directed at me. And when something like this, when it's someone that you know, or someone that you have known, someone who is a real physical person to you that you can name and recognize and things, saying these things, it suddenly exposes you to this, like, it's like someone pulls back the curtain and goes, and here's what's really going on, and it's going on in the minds of the people you know, and it's like, oh my god, what? And I know full well that there'll be people listening and this has always been here, and we know that. We know it's always been here. But it's that mask off moment where it's someone who you have physically been near in some way, that you have known, that you have some experience with. That it's just, it's a different level, and it really hits home actually how just how shit it is for people who are facing it on the daily basis and having it said to them in many cases.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly, when you think about that, the fact that they're telling you that the rate of suicide for trans people is so much higher, you can entirely understand why.
Yeah.
There is no doubt in your mind why that is. Because to face that day in, day out, my God, that's no way. No way.
I just,
So, yeah.
yeah. I guess it's like, obviously we didn't plan on talking about this today. Otherwise, I
No.
could have, we both could have probably said something, very put together and uh insightful, but just on an emotional level, it's quite hard to do that because you have an emotional response which prevents you from formulating something that's, I don't know, like a
It's
solid
hard
argument. I don't.
it's hard for me to be rational about this when it's something which makes no fucking sense to me.
Yeah, yeah,
It's hard for me
exactly.
to put together a logical argument when the basis of it is so fundamentally ridiculous that I don't understand how, because it's not a logical argument, it's not a rational argument. There's this fear or moral panic on this other side that is so fundamentally opposed to people having equality and people being able to live as who they are, that they've chosen to emotionally lash out and paint everyone as being some form of, you know, sexual deviant who's just doing it in order for their own gratification, etc., etc., etc. I don't know how I meant to come back at that with any reason and logic and
Yeah,
facts. There's no, because the logic and facts are there, and they're already out there. They're known, and for every person I find, and I can point to them and say, look, this person clearly does not fit anything you're saying, they'll be able to dig out someone somewhere who happens to be, you know, to prove their theory. One person that proves their theory and therefore means that everyone must be painted with the same brush. And you, I don't know how you're meant to come into that with something put together and thought through, because it falls apart. You hit
yeah,
this brick wall where you're trying to compete against this unreal, ridiculous, just nonsense. And I can confirm that however many months on we are, 5 months on from that, I am just as enraged as I was back then.
I think
It's impossible.
as well. Like, I actually spoke to my nan 2 nights ago,
Yeah.
and she, like, we were having a conversation about trans people, about people being gay, and she was like surprisingly woke with all of this. Like, she
Mm.
was very much like, of course, people have always been that way. Like, why make it difficult? Like, um, yeah, and I could have a really good conversation with her about it. And you think that's somebody of an older generation who's had a lot less
Mm.
opportunities to be educated on like LGBTQ plus rights, and still she's like managed to get on board, and
That's it.
yeah, like,
That's why
I'm
I
not.
struggle to allow people the get out card of they were born in a different time or something. It's like, yeah, but also I I don't think you can use that as a pure excuse forever. because if I get to the point where I'm in my 60s, 70s, and I'm really clearly out of step with the rest of the world,
Yeah, particularly the younger
something's gone wrong.
population. Yeah.
Something's gone wrong for me, because I think it would be ridiculous to accept. My personal lived experience is not what all of humanity goes through, nor should it be what everyone goes through, nor do I necessarily want it to be. I accept and appreciate that people come from so many different backgrounds and face different things, and ultimately, I don't live in anyone else's head but my own. I only know what's going on in my head, and sometimes I don't even know that. So, you have to be open to hearing and understanding and empathizing with other people's experiences. And that's a lifelong thing. That doesn't stop the second that you become an adult and you think, well, I did that time. Now I'm an adult and everything must be the same forever. It won't be the same forever. Sorry to break it to you, but that's not how the world works. That's not how humanity works. That's not how any of this works. Society will move forward, will change. Things will become different. Maybe things that we consider taboo are going to be less taboo in the future. Like, it's just how it, take, for example, my parents getting married. One
Yeah.
of them black, one of them white. Not that long ago, that would have been like, there, that's an interracial marriage. They're no, ooh, that can't work out very well. Well, I'm afraid to tell you it has gone very well. So, there you are. It things
Oh, sorry,
change,
that
the
led to
world
two
moves on.
children
Yeah.
being incredibly intelligent and succeeding in life. Oh, what a fucking
Oh dear,
what
what a
a
terrible
nuisance.
mistake. What a destructive thing to our society. Oh wait, it's not. So, let's don't be I not to continue down the angry line, but also to continue down the angry line briefly. I saw this article at the end of March. Um and it was from a historian who I saw quite a lot of him from when we were studying A level history and talking about the Tudors and things. He seemed to have
Oh,
written
you did
quite a lot.
Tudors. Right.
So his name's David Starkey. Um, he is building up a bit of a reputation in the last few years for saying some interesting things. So, well, let's go back. So in 2020, he said in an interview, let me find the words he used. So this is a clip, a small snippet from a wider podcast, and I haven't listened to the full podcast. I only heard this like snippet, so just to set that on aside. He said slavery was not genocide. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many damn blacks in Africa or Britain, would there? An awful lot of them survived. Apparently, they weren't very happy about this because it didn't exactly feel very inclusive of him to say.
You don't say.
It kind of stirred up some racial hatred out of the invalidation of a really terrible thing, because you would think that we could all accept that slavery was inherently a bad thing. I'm not sure why you choose to reduce it, but there we go. So he came out, this is 3 years on, I'll say, and he went to a literary thing, and in this article he's got human beings are not equal, shouldn't be equal, and will never be equal. We differ in strength, as we are discovering in the whole debate about trans people and women. We differ in intelligence. He then went on to say that human rights were a catastrophe, and described Britain as a quasi-apartheid society. The catastrophe has been that we've introduced human rights like gay rights, like black rights, like trans rights, because they are inherently divisive.
Kind of want to
Inherently
punch him in the
divisive.
dick.
He's got a very punchable fucking face. I'll tell you that much. He's got a very fucking punchable face. And but these are people
I
who
feel
have.
like some people with those opinions are just like, it's not even genuine that they say these things for clout. Like, oh, he does have a punchable face.
He does have a
I feel
punchable
like if I
face.
punched him, he would die. Like,
Yeah.
No hate, just, well, actually hate. Yeah, no, I don't feel bad about
I
hating
think.
on him.
Oh no, sorry, Karen.
Oh no, just like, yeah, I didn't really have anything to add. I was just being stupid.
It's that they seem to enter this cycle of they say something that people have a negative reaction to because they didn't think it through and it wasn't actually very nice and it caused upset and pain and heartbreak. And you have two choices. You either acknowledge that, learn from it, grow from it, and try and be better, or you double down. And he seems to have done what a disturbing number of people do and doubled down and got worse. And suddenly it's because society is divisive and all these things that we've given people are divisive. And if we all just lived like we used to, everything would be fine because everything was all fine before we acknowledged the existence of gay people and black people and trans people and anyone who's different. Why can't we all just live in the way we used to? Well, it didn't exist. That time has never existed. There was never a time when everything was good and happy and fine. Humanity is a long series of struggles and fights to be recognized as equal to each other. There is not this golden age that you think existed, whereby everyone was able to live happily and harmoniously and oh, wasn't it wonderful? That didn't happen. Okay? Any basic understanding of history will show you that that has not been the case at any point. Certainly not today. And if you're going to sit there and try and claim that we need to go back to this imaginary time, you need to get your head out of your ass and wake up to what's going on in the world.
What I've just been reading while you were speaking, sorry, rude, but was about his like background, because it was just like, oh, this must be some fucking rich old white dude. But I'm sure you know this already, but apparently he came from poverty or like a poor background. How does this happen? Like, what? How do you? Though it did say he had a nervous breakdown in secondary school, so maybe he got bullied and that was where it all started going wrong.
I have no words.
that it it's. I guess I hold. Do I hold poor people to a higher standard? That sounds really bad, but I
think we hope for this solidarity. You hope that you can understand why those with a large amount of money and power would be self-interested because it's in their interest to keep
bubble.
It. Yeah, but you would hope that those of us lower down the tree would understand that actually we're in a situation not necessarily because of things that we've done, but because society is basically unfair. So you would hope that collectively we understand and have solidarity with each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's... yeah. I don't... Yeah, just... I think when you've come from nothing, or like you've come from a background of living in poverty, then you see that how people struggle, and you try to have a bit of a kinder approach. You have a bit more of an understanding of the struggles people face on a day, because like I think one of the biggest causes of suicide is, I think, financial reasons, and then probably equivalent to maybe LGBTQ, transphobia, homophobia. Like, they're probably the two biggest problems I can think of that leads to suicide. So then you have, I don't know, you just oh, I don't know, I just can't. That just shocked me.
Yeah, it's I mean, you want to add another thing to it. This guy is gay as well, and lived with his partner for
Fuck
several years.
off. Fuck
So
off.
you know,
Oh,
it
attracted to London's gay scene. Oh my god.
so it tells you something really that you know sometimes the
This
enemy's
guy's not had an
within.
easy life. Yeah,
No.
like he had polio, he's was born with club feet. Like, this guy's been through the ringer.
Mm.
Like,
And came out the other side like that.
bittered by it.
Yeah.
But then to hate your own community. Damn. I guess that's the thing. Like, I'd have to listen to this guy speak to try and understand his how he can think like that, and maybe ask, like, when did you start having these feelings? Like, did you have a bad experience with someone and then that's led to you having that stereotype? Or, like, otherwise I just don't understand. It's like, yeah. I was saying to Piers, this is like slightly random, but kind of related. I think it was yesterday. I mean, I've probably said this before, but I was saying that Piers has only been attracted to like femmes, like females or female presenting people.
Yeah.
And has always labelled himself as being straight. And I said to him, like, because you're not queer, you will never truly understand. You can be an ally, but you'll never truly understand what it is. And in the same way, I will never understand what it's like to be straight, because I've never been straight. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Like, I can imagine, but I can't understand what it would be like to be limited, my attraction to be limited by genitalia, for example.
Yeah.
Or gender.
Yeah. It's a different lived experience that you don't have.
Yeah, like, for me, I'm like, if you like a person, then why should their gender or genitalia stop you going out with them? Be like, oh. I just never truly understand it. I can imagine, but I can't understand. And I think with some opinions and some views on stuff, because you haven't lived the same life as that person, you can never understand why they think that way. And I think some people don't like to be open about their opinions, and so they're unlikely to change. I think, like, when I went to uni, I did not like posh people. I did not understand it. I thought all posh people were bad. And now I'm friends with a lot of posh people. I like to think I'm like their token poor person, who can educate them on things. But, like, I realised that their views on things is just because they haven't had experiences that I have, and it doesn't mean they're a bad person, or they just don't get it because they haven't lived like that. Yeah, so I think everyone just has a different background, and sometimes you just gotta understand. Like with this guy, I probably will never in my lifetime understand why I hope I never understand why he has those views.
No.
But then, without understanding his views and where they come from, how can we change that? And is it our responsibility to change that? It's a whole. Oh my god, you dogs are so fucking annoying. All you do is sleep all day. As soon as I record the bloody podcast, you're like eating a load of Skittles and bouncing around the place, whining.
Amazing. But you're right.
Feel like I've chatted a lot of shit this podcast and not necessarily said anything intelligent or insightful.
I think you. I think you said quite a lot of insightful things. I mean, I don't think neither of us came into this with a plan about what we were going to talk about, and neither of us are necessarily sitting here now like, oh yes, this is where I thought it would go. But I guess this is it. This is real life. This is
Yeah.
And it's not all bad. Even I can recognize that with my warped, twisted mind. But I don't think you should shy away from. I streamed yesterday, and like the last hour of it, I ended up basically ranting because we were talking about. So I have some American friends, some of whom will listen to this podcast. Chris and Jen, if you're listening, hi. And they were telling me about some of what it's like to live in America and some of the decisions you have to make and some of the, especially around healthcare, around abortion, around these things. And Chris and Jen, if you are listening, hi from like 5 months later. And I just went off on one, to be honest. I really, not directed at anyone there, but the very nature of the system and the inequality that's there. And I would love to be the kind of person who just doesn't think about it, but I'm not. And so I do hear about these things and I hear about these struggles, and it makes me so inherently angry to live in a society like we do, where we're one of the richest countries in the world, but there's so much inequality and poverty. And likewise with America. And I'm not going to start that rant again, but I ended up really. And I think the thing is, I think it is important to shine light on these things. Not because we don't know it necessarily, but because I think we can't always just willfully be ignorant to this stuff. This is going on. These things happen. These are the struggles that other people face on a daily basis. It's a privilege to be able to not think about it and to just live in a bubble. And I can't be comfortable living like that all the time because, to an extent, there are barriers and lines I have to draw for my own protection of my mental health and things.
Yeah, that is the thing. If you look at the news every single day, it wears you down.
Yeah. And like doom scrolling, there are reasons these are a thing. But to switch off entirely is something that I can't accept for myself at the very least, because that is a privilege to be able to live, to imagine that everything is fine, everything's just great, because it might be for me personally is you can understand why people feel so trapped and isolated and alone if they're looking at other people who live in the bubble and don't recognize the struggle that they're going through.
Yeah.
So, I said it yesterday, it's like, I'm sorry, but also I'm really not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry at all, because I want people to talk to me, to listen to me, to be in space with me, and know that I don't necessarily understand everything they've been through because my lived experiences are different. But that I want to try and understand, and I want to do whatever I can, even if it's such a tiny, tiny, tiny thing, to make it slightly less hellish. And if I
Yeah.
can do that, then at least I've done that. And if everyone did that, then we'd move somewhere closer to being in a good place. So I'm not really sorry actually for it. And it's one of those things where if you really have an issue with what we're saying, um, please just make sure you hold the door for anyone behind you on the way out. Um, and you go and do whatever you need to do. But this stuff is going on. There are people struggling who are fellow human beings who you have an incredible amount in common. I looked the other day and it was like over 99% of your DNA is shared across the entirety of humanity and
Yeah.
beyond, I think, potentially as well. So don't think that you're somehow massively different. It's a very, very small amount of you that's different compared to the amount of you that is the same at its core. And
Yeah.
you can't treat I have no apologies for standing up and saying my piece and trying to support.
Paying for Prime Minister. Whoop, whoop.
Absolutely not.
Because
I'd
you'd find
I'd
out.
make it about a week and then I'd be like, you people are fucked. You're on your own. You're on your own. But I can't do that, but I can do this. So there you are.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Welcome back.
if you just tuned out for the first hour there, sozzles.
Sozzles.
I can't. I cannot. I cannot even.
Yeah, I feel you there. Like, yeah. Whew, I don't know. Do we chat more shit or do we move on to the music section? Like,
Do you
I
have
don't.
anything else to say? I mean, I have just basically ranted, so I apologize for that, really. Um,
Um, no, no. I think like, yeah, we've covered a good amount. I think.
do you have anything unrelated? Maybe there's something else you wanted to.
No, my life is fairly boring at the moment.
Which is strange for someone who's planning a wedding.
Yeah, I mean, like, wedding planning's pretty boring, to be honest. Like, I'm really excited for the wedding. Oh, I'm actually feeling very, I don't know, like if I said earlier, I'm actually like feeling very positive about the wedding. Um,
Amazing.
which is like good because it's quite a stressful thing, as you
Yeah,
could
that's
probably
really good.
imagine. Um, I have. This now seems like really shallow shit compared to what we are just talking about.
No, 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 no.
um, so I've got my dress fitting on Wednesday, my first like set of alterations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I spent money. I spent like 250 quid because I went to Westfield. Um, yeah, on
See, you can tell so much about our backgrounds that when you said that, my immediate reaction was like, "Ooh."
I did have a mental breakdown about it. Like, I basically uh I said to Pierce, I was like, I have such a hard time of like spending money on myself. Like,
Mm,
I can spend money on stuff for the wedding, but as
mm,
soon as it's stuff for the wedding that's for me,
mm,
I can't justify it in my head. I'm like, well, that could go towards a house. Like, that could go towards a deposit for the house. Like that could go into a savings account for if like the boiler breaks or like if the car needs a new tire or like I there's something that makes me nervous about spending money on myself and
mm.
um I don't know, then I was just like fuck it, I'm gonna buy myself some makeup for the wedding. I'm gonna go and get a I bought a bracelet for the because I don't have a lot of jewelry. I probably have like I don't know like 3 pieces of jewelry that I wear. One is this necklace that Barbie got me for Christmas that we hadn't seen her in ages, so I got this like a few weeks ago. And then I've got my engagement ring, my signet ring, and a ring my nan got me. But I think that's kind of like it for like jewelry I wear. I don't have my ears pierced or anything. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided that I had got this bracelet a while back for the wedding. I was like, I'm gonna go from Pandora, and I was like, I'm gonna go get a charm for the wedding day, like a wedding charm, because the idea is that for anniversaries, or like if we got a dog, or if we have a kid, something like that, like you can add charms that are like relevant to the relationship instead of like just general ones. I thought it'd be nice that it's kind of a charm bracelet for our relationship, which I thought was kind of cute. So I was like, oh, I'll go buy a charm, and then what else did I go and buy? And then I went into Jack Wills, and that store was closing down, and they had discounts on everything, but then they had a 50% discount on top of that.
Hey, now we're talking.
Exactly, yeah, and this is where the poor person in me was like, oh, money. Yeah, so I came out, was like, I called Pierce, I was like, I've just spent money! What have I done? Yeah, but I was glad after, because it's like, everything I bought I like, I'm gonna get use out of, and yeah, it's like, the world's not gonna end because I've gone and spent money on myself,
Exactly,
I guess.
exactly.
Yeah, and the other thing I guess that happened was we gave in our notice for getting married.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It was like weird. It was so funny. Pierce was like, "Oh, so they're gonna interview us?" I was like, "No, we're not. Like, you're not getting a green card. Like, they're not gonna."
As if he's getting a job.
Yeah, like, why would they interview us? It's like laughing at him. And then we get there and we're having a chat with this guy, and he goes, right, now I need to separate you for your interviews. I was like, what? I looked at Piers, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I bet Piers looks back at you and he's like, I told
Like,
you.
you're an arsehole, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't like what I was, like, it wasn't like the whole. Have you watched The Proposal with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds?
Not for a while ago, yeah.
Funny film, love it. But at the end of it, the idea, like you probably remember, is like they're having a green card like interview, and they've got all the bloopers of the random questions that are asked. And so in my head, I'm thinking, oh my god, they're gonna ask me like all these things that I don't know. And like realistically, what wouldn't I know about Pierce at this point? Like, but you know they're just gonna ask a question that you're gonna be like, fuck's sake, I don't know the answer. But anyway, when they separate us, it was just like, what's your job? Like, what's your parents' names? Who do you want on the certificate? Like,
oh, really dull stuff.
Yeah, like, I don't think there was anything personal in there. But then they were like, what's your mum's middle name? I was like, I know it's Sean, right? So my mum's middle name's Sean, but she always moaned about how dogs. She always moaned about how it was spelt, like how my nan and granddad had spelt it on her birth certificate. So I was like, well, I know it's Sean, but I don't know how it's spelt. Like panicking in my head, like I should know this. I sound like a terrible person. So I was like, I'm gonna go with spelling it like Shane, like Shane. And the guy started looking at me like, okay, we'll go with that.
God.
And he's like, you can always change it. Like, it's not a big deal. You can change it like on the day. And then I'm like, maybe it's not like that. Maybe I've made this up in my head. Like, what? And then he goes, so you're allowed to put, as of 2 years ago, you're allowed to put your step-parents on as well. Yeah, which I thought was quite nice. So I put my dad on, and I put my stepmom on. And then the guy was like, and what's their middle names? I was like, I don't actually know.
He's probably looking at you like, these are your parents.
How do you not? So you don't know how your mum's middle name's spelled, and you don't know. And I was like, I don't think they have middle names. And I'm thinking maybe they do, but if I can change it, then it's like not as embarrassing as not knowing what they are. So if I just say like no, they don't have them, I can change them. So I text. So when I leave out, like I have to go in the waiting room for Piers to have his interview. So I'm like fucking frantically calling my dad and stepmom. Neither of them pick up. I'm like, oh great. And then my stepmom replies saying she doesn't have a middle name. Or was it the other way around? Yeah, no, I think it was, yeah, my stepmom saying she doesn't have a middle name, and I was like, what about dad? She goes, I don't know. I was like, what?
Brilliant.
Just, I don't think he has one, but I don't know. I was like,
This man's been going around and no one knows his middle name if he's even got one.
Conclusion was, my dad and stepmom both don't have middle names, but when you say that, it sounds made up, doesn't it? Like, oh no, neither of them have middle names. Like, what? Especially as, like, everyone else in my family seems to have middle names, so I just thought it was a bit random. So I'm, like, panicking as well during this. Anyway, I go out and it's like send Piers, and I'm like, well, he's fine because he has two parents. They're married to each other, so they've got the same last name, and yeah, like he'll be fine. Anyway, he comes out, and we're laughing. Like, we finish off the interview like together. We do the last bit, and it was all fine. And then it was like, oh, we have to put this up for 28 days or something, and then it's fine. Which I didn't realise they do. Like, they put your notice up in the, like, town hall or something and see if anyone objects.
They actually do that?
Yeah, I didn't fucking know this. I just, like, that sounded bullshit to me. Like, what?
So I can go down and object if I so wanted?
Yeah, if you knew which town hall it was, because I've never been to this town hall.
That's so weird.
If you can find it, you can object.
Mission accepted.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway, we get in the car, and I was like, Piers, like I like fucked up because I couldn't remember anyone's middle names. He goes, oh, I did one worse, which you're gonna be annoyed about. I was like, oh, what? He goes, I couldn't remember what your job was.
Oh no.
And then he told me what he said, which was wrong.
Oh, God.
Apparently, the guy said to him, he was like, apparently he goes to the guy, he goes, what did she say? And then he just copied down what I had said, so.
Alright.
Oh, it was also awkward, because, like, in the beginning of the meeting, the guy goes, so are you male or female? I was like, oh. And he goes, well, you haven't got a beard, so I'm going to go with female. I was like, okay.
Sure. You do you.
And then, yeah, he was making jokes. I was like, I don't feel like I'm going to fuck with this one. I'm just going to go with female because I don't want to have this conversation. Yeah, I was like, I don't feel like saying non-binary is an option here, so I'm just gonna go with female because you're not gonna understand and I just don't want that right now. So yeah, that was funny.
What in the flying fuck was this? This is so ridiculous from beginning to end.
Yeah.
What in the hell?
Yeah, we came out of it like... I think Piers just laughed because he knew the guy apparently was chatting about his ex-wife to Piers in his interview. I was like...
Oh, Lord.
And he also kept saying to us, like, there's no parking where you're getting married. Good luck. We were like, okay. And then he was giving us advice on how to, like, get there without parking. I don't know. And, you know, you're just like, we'll work it out. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, we'll get a taxi.
This is the weirdest fucking thing. This is so strange.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but, like, all fine, I think. So...
The thing that really confuses, like, why would they not just tell you, like, here are the questions, like, they're not doing this to catch you out. This is just so you can give notice. Why would they not just say, here are the questions we're going to ask you, bring them along? and then you could have just written them all down, and then
Yeah.
you just go in and do it. What?
Yeah.
This is the most unnecessarily difficult thing I've heard of.
Yeah.
And also,
It,
did you work out how your mum's middle name was spelled?
yes, I was gonna say this. I was close. It is spelled Shan without the E. Shan. How would I know that?
Well, I would never have gone for that. That's.
And then what's extra confusing is my mum changed it on her passport to be Sian. So I feel like I wasn't as stupid as I sounded. Like
No. This whole system just seems so ridiculously unnecessarily. Also, why could you not just do that online? Why is that not a thing?
I know. I think because they have to. I don't do it while they're looking at your passport.
Right.
Oh my god!
So why can't you do it online and then just turn up with your stuff and be like, yes?
This is correct. I don't know. I think it's also to make sure that like no one's being coerced into getting married.
Okay.
They also asked us if we were related.
Oh.
And I was like, privately.
What happens if you say yes?
And I was very confused because I went, huh? What? And he goes, are you cousins?
Oh.
Do we look like cousins? What?
You don't even look that similar.
No, it's just one of the questions they have to ask is like, if you're related and you're allowed to marry your first cousin in England.
Are you?
I think that's what he said. In Canada you can't, but in England you can marry your first cousin.
Well, I'm not going to think about that.
Yeah, and I was very disturbed by this and very like, my answer was, I hope not. And then I said, well, we have done a DNA test, and I was like, now it sounds like we thought we were related.
Why would you add to it? Just say no and move on, dear Lord.
Yeah, I was just very like, huh? Oh no, why would we?
God.
What? Yeah, that was the other. So the drama that I was just suddenly remembered as well was having a panic. Yeah, I booked to do it on here like in February, or beginning of February, or maybe end of January. And Pierce knew this, and I was like, Pierce, like, you're gonna have to dig out your birth certificate. He goes, I haven't got a birth certificate. I was like, how do you not? What? You must have.
Well, he does have one.
Yeah, I was like, you live next door to your mum. Like, between the pair of you, like, I'm not relying on Steve for the birth certificate because the man didn't even know where his own passport was.
No.
I was like, between the pair of you, you must have a birth certificate. Like, what? Huh? And then I find out that his passport and his driving license is about to expire. And then there was the awkwardness of, because he didn't have a birth certificate, and we've booked Italy now, he couldn't send in his passport because we needed it as proof of identity for.
Oh God.
And then during our interview, the guy said, "Oh yeah, by the way, all of the passport offices going on strikes, so you're gonna have to go to either London or Petersburg and do one of the like emergency ones." I have since looked, and they've said on the website, on the postal office, that it shouldn't exceed 10 weeks still, even with the strikes. So fingers crossed, it will be okay. If not, I guess we will just have to go to London. But you have to pay so much more money to go and do one of these emergency ones. So yeah, so I was like, oh, I'll just take the chance. I'll take the risk it for a chocolate biscuit. But yeah, I just couldn't believe. I was like, Piers, how the fuck did you like not realise? And I was like, oh, your driving licence is about to expire as well. He's like, no, it's not. And I was like, have you checked? He goes, oh, check now. And he goes quiet. And I was like, when does it expire? And he goes, next month. Not next month. It's like June or something.
Yeah.
Which is before our fucking legal ceremony and before our honeymoon. So and you're like, I'm not stressed now because you're going to have no forms of identification because you're going to have to send it off. And you need forms of identification for the legal ceremony. So we're just hoping that his driving license, because they don't take us long, will come back before the legal ceremony. But yeah, it's fun.
Fun.
But my passport and driving license are in date, and I have my birth certificate. So
All right. Well, there we go.
I will be getting married to myself if.
And you're feeling pretty relaxed about all this, eh?
Oh, absolutely fucking not. But I've just had to accept that it's out of my control.
Yes. How do people fucking elope? How does that even work?
How do people have spontaneous like weddings?
Oh,
like it took me a year to hear back from the council about booking an appointment at one of their for one of their registrars at one of their venues, and you have to do it at an approved venue as well. So it's like, how the fuck do people do this shit? I feel like I'm of average intelligence, right? I
think we can say you're definitely at least average, if not above average.
Yeah, I would say that I'm not on the completely thick side, and I was still baffled by the whole process, and I was just like, this makes it quite challenging to actually get married, which, I mean, maybe it shouldn't be really easy to get married, but
I'm not sure it should be this hard, though.
Yeah.
Nobody said it was easy.
Yeah. Are you Coldplay referencing?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I was like, is it so ingrained in his brain that he's doing it accidentally?
Yep. I said it, I smiled, I looked off, and I was like, go on, you can do it.
Right, I need the toilet quickly, so I might pause and come back if you want to entertain people or have a break yourself.
I don't want to entertain people.
That's nice. Okay, 1 sec.
For context, I did just sit in silence until Kat came back, because I didn't want to entertain people beyond the amount I was already entertaining people, because I am a naturally funny guy. Anyway, let's just carry on.
I have a really random question for you.
Alright, go.
Do you use hand soap? Bar of soap or liquid soap?
We have both.
Which one do you use?
Normally, I'll use the liquid one. We have we buy a massive thing and then we just refill this.
Refill it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So I don't know if you know this. I have hand eczema.
Yes.
And I think because of being in London and using hand sanitizer and soap, it's just fucking destroyed my hands. So I decided a few weeks ago that I'd start using the bars of soap because they just feel a little bit less harsh, and also a lot of soap has linalool in. So I think the Dove ones do have linalool in because they smell like they're fragrant, so I'm assuming they have it in. But I've also got a Sanex one, which I think's got probably doesn't have anything in because it's not scented.
Yeah.
But I always said to Joe and Steve, I was like, I don't know how you use bars of soap because you touch the bar of soap with dirty hands, you wash your hands with it, then you put it back in a moist condition. How is it? And they're like, it's self-cleaning. I'm like, how is it? You know, and you're like, I don't actually know how to. I'd want to do an experiment where I find out which one is actually making my hand clean. Because I'm not convinced that it's doing the full job, but I don't know. It's better than having blistering hands, I guess, so.
Yes, absolutely.
I can either have slightly dirty hands or blistered hands.
I'm just trying to work it out now. No, I'm not going to think about that. That's not... No.
I feel like I need to stop using hand sanitizer because that's the thing that's
hand sanitizer is... You just have to be... careful of how much you're using it,
Yeah.
because you can overdo it and it will dry out your hands.
I think maybe if I use it, I then need to use hand cream, but like,
Yeah.
I might see if, you know, the Body Shop moisturizer you gave me.
Yeah.
I've pretty much finished that. I've destroyed that thing, which I never finish any of my moisturizers
Oh,
because
good. Was it? So
I
it was
normally.
good.
Yeah, it was good, and it was nice that it was scented because normally everything that I buy doesn't have a scent to it because like if it has a scent, it normally has linalool.
Mm.
But that stuff's been great, and it
Nice.
actually like encourages me. I I am terrible for moisturizing, which
Yeah.
um I don't know. It's just one of those things like you get out of the bath and then you don't want to be sticky and then I don't know. But with that stuff, I've actually for some reason it's motivated me to actually moisturize, so it's good. But I probably need to get like a mini version or like the hand cream version to take
Yeah.
out and about with me. Um, yeah.
100%. You should definitely. It's Yeah, I have I actually, strangely enough, I used the one you got me, the was it the cocoa butter one. You know the one I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Um, I have that. I have it. I keep some in my desk at work, and I have some I think, and I always find that works quite well as a kind of um. That's quite good for moisturizing. It seems to get like moisturize quite deeply, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Um,
Yeah,
so I
my
use
nan
that
used to
quite a bit
swear by
because at
that
work
stuff.
I find that my hand will get quite dry from, like you say, using hand sanitizer and things. So that one has always worked really well for me.
That's good to know. Yeah, I don't actually have any of that stuff anymore. I need to go and buy some, but my nan used to swear by it, which is why I got some for
Yeah,
you. Um, they sell it in Wilko as well. So
yeah.
next time I love an excuse to go to Wilko. It's like one of my favorite shops, if you couldn't tell.
Just another future insight, I guess. Wilco is, or maybe I should say, was a UK shop that sold basically everything. Like they were pretty varied. But as of a few weeks ago, they were in some pretty big financial issues, and it's still not entirely clear whether or not they will survive as a business. So, 5 months changes a lot in the world. Who knew?
Um, yeah, we are really interesting people, aren't we?
I would say that we're incredibly interesting.
Sometimes I think about like what we talk about in the podcast, and it's interesting to us, but like you're just like, I don't. Are other people interested in the random
I
shit we
wonder
talk
this
about?
every time I start going off on one of my weird things. I just kind of hope that if people don't like it, that they'll keep it to themselves.
Yes.
Don't tell me about it. I know that my life is boring. I don't need anyone else to tell me that.
I think a boring life is a good life.
I don't know that I think my
Maybe.
life is even that boring. You know, for me,
No.
it's plenty. It's fine. For some people, it might be boring, but it's one of those things that we all have different levels of what is boring and what isn't. And I am,
Yeah.
to be honest, what's boring to me would be sat down for 90 minutes watching football. But I could
Yes.
also sit there for like an hour and a bit and watch Formula One. So, you know, I can
I
hardly say much.
music is playing out of my headphones, but Spotify says it's not playing. I am mystified.
What's happening to you?
Oh, okay. It was Spotify. It was just I don't
What?
know. Mm.
Shall we move on
At
to
least we
music?
can At least we can blame ADHD now. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dear fucking lord.
I just don't know how I started playing Spotify.
I love you, but you really do fucking confuse me sometimes.
I confuse myself. So
Just hit me up. Let's go.
sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm like reasonably intelligent, and then I get humbled very quickly as soon as I start thinking that.
You are
um,
absolutely very much intelligent, but as with all
I think,
intelligent people, you have your moments.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna hit you up with "Good Morning" by Ralph Castelli
Oh my gosh,
because
okay.
that was the song that randomly started playing in my ears, which was very, very confusing. This is like such an indie classic. I don't know if you were like, what does indie sound like? This is the song
Mm,
you would play. Um, I've been listening to this playlist because we've had these songs in for a little while in this playlist.
yeah,
I've been listening to it on my way to work, and it's like a perfect balance of like hype, and then this song's just like calm.
yeah,
Um, and you know when you sit on the train or sit on a bus or something and you start romanticizing the journey,
yeah.
like passing like a building being demolished, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
this is great. I don't know. It gives me that kind of vibe, and I think if you didn't have the little synths going through it, it would probably sound quite bare. You know, with like a lot of indie songs, you'll have like an acoustic guitar and someone singing, and that's it, and then there's no like texture to it. So then it's just feels. Sometimes that works in its favor and it's quite raw, but with this, because you've got a little bit more going on instrumentally, that it just kind of uh, brings a little bit more oomph to it in the
Mm.
technical. And it kind of reminds me of How to Build a Home, the cinematic
Yeah,
orchestra,
yeah, I
some
see that.
that kind of not quite as like emotional as that though.
Mm.
um, yeah, it just I feel like this is a sound of being content, and the lyrics probably completely contradict that, but like, yeah.
No, no, no. So when I was looking up things, so apparently he said about it. I wrote this song about coming out of depression. It felt like I had just woken up from a long, awful nap.
Oh, so it is
So
kind of.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, to be honest.
I also put in my notes, I've just got them up, that it makes my brain go quiet when
Yeah.
I listen to it. So, yeah,
I, I, I think
achieved.
it's what I said when I was taking these notes down. It definitely has that feeling of coming out of something. Even the last month or so, I feel like we've gone from miserable, dark winter to like
Yeah.
it definitely feels more spring. Like I'm wearing shorts today. Like the sun's been shining more this week. It's been warmer. It's getting like dark later on. So you have that, and in a similar way, like this feels like that, but like for your mood, that kind of feeling of you, I can totally get what he's saying about coming from a long nap kind of thing, like waking up and
Mm,
going, yeah, okay, okay, things are things are fine. I'm like coming back out of my shell kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I think it very much has that feeling. It's lyrically, I just find it very. So I really like what is this bit? It's a good morning, mister. It's a good morning just for all the finer things in life. It's not so black and white. It's a perfect day to be alive. And it's like,
huh.
I like that. I find it really sweet. And I like the fact that it's not overblown. It's not like hyper happy, poppy, sweet, sickly, like, oh my God,
Mm,
everything's amazing. It's like the kind of risk thing of waking up and feeling just kind of okay.
yeah.
And like just kind of like you've come out of something, you're recovering from something. It has that whole feel to it, which I think is just nailed. And yeah, I've got easy to get lost in was the other thing I had because I was listening
Mm,
to it and I definitely kind of I closed my eyes for it and I was just like I could fully drift off and just be in my own little world for a bit with this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and like again on the train, like just sort of I've been trying to so I normally read on the train. I
Okay.
normally my morning routine is now I'll get on the train,
Mm.
I try and do my makeup because I refuse to get up earlier to do any
Mm-hmm.
makeup. So I normally just put on a little bit of makeup and then the train gets absolutely packed. So I then um, start reading. But when I was listening to this song, I realised I'd stopped reading, was just staring out the window
Mm-hmm.
because I think it just I don't know, you just kind of wanted to be in the moment. I guess that sounds really cringe, but
No,
like
no, I get that entirely.
um and just look outside and see what's going on because I think sometimes like I think that the same thing happens when you're driving. You kind of forget to look at what's around you and you just kind of
Mm.
get used to things and then one day you go, was that shop always there? I never knew that shop was
Mm.
there. And then
Yeah,
someone goes,
suddenly
yeah,
notice
it's been
something
there
and you
for the
don't know
last
how long
10
it's been there.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Yeah, I just definitely think this song, you could imagine it in an indie movie.
Mm. Yes.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I find it
Also,
a really beautiful song.
a while back, yeah, 100%. His voice was really soothing as well.
Mm.
Um, yeah. A while back, you'll see when you're editing. I don't know how prominent it was, but like it felt quite exaggerated to me. I suddenly became hyper aware that I had my earphones in my ears. I know this sounds really stupid, but it made me twitch. Um, just like have this idea of like you going back through it and I'm just there like swinging my head and you're like what the
This
what was going on.
I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this one.
Sorry, we can go back to songs. Are these in the wrong ears? Left, that is my left ear.
You,
Okay,
you,
I'm not okay.
I'm gonna hit you up. Do you want me to hit you up?
Yeah, hit me up,
I'll
hit
hit
me
you up.
up. Yeah.
All right. Dear fucking Lord above. Um. Fucking hell. Right. Danger. Live at the House of Coco by Olivia Dean.
I'm so glad that you've said this one because I feel like it gives off a very similar
Yes.
vibe to Good Morning by Ralph Castelli. Is it Castelli?
Yeah, let's go for. Yeah, why not? I think so. It's weird that you'd ask that
Um,
now after we finished talking about it, but that's okay.
oh, okay. Like with this song, I I love the fact that it's live because I realised
Mm,
that I don't listen to live music as much as I used to. Going to gigs and on Spotify, like I used to listen to the live versions of songs, particularly like Coldplay have always been very good at releasing live stuff.
mm,
Frank Turner's been good. Yeah, so like I was just really glad that this came up on my recommended and I was like there's something just so lovely about a track being live because it makes you feel
mm,
like you're in the room with them, especially when it's kind of that. Her voice just sounds so natural and uh, unproduced,
mm.
unaffected. Like I don't know, it just sounds like yeah, like she's singing directly to you, which is just really nice. It's like wholesome and homely and yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of
totally.
that's my little rant.
No, well, I'm kind of similar to you actually. I listened to the studio version afterwards, so I listened to this one in the studio, and then I came back to this one again. Um, and I love the song itself. Like
Yeah.
it's a great song. I think it really like I love that kind of being so in love with someone that you're almost codependent on them, and like it's intoxicating almost. Like being that in love with someone, like it really captures that. I think like I was thinking about it as I think I prefer this live version because there is something more vulnerable about it. There's something more, like you said, personal and as if it's the two of you just in a room and like it's just to you that
It
it works really well and it does feel vulnerable and personal in a way that the studio version can't quite do because it's and that's fine. Like it works really well, but it definitely just adds that layer of something that's like I don't even know. It's more intimate kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I think like with the original version, I've only like listened to it once, but
mm,
you've got the sort of like bass line, the funky sort of bass line going through it, and
mm,
I think because you've got a bit more of a pop structure going on there, you can kind of like zone out slightly with it. Like it's still a brilliant song, but
mm,
with the live version, you are kind of jolted by the fact that it's live and you then pay
mm,
a bit more attention to it and you're not in your comfort zone, you're taken out of your comfort zone and you're um it's like the same as like if you listen to something through your headphones
mm,
or if you're stood there and watching someone perform that song, you're going to be paying attention in a different kind of way, and they're
mm,
both great, but it's different. And I think because I think people don't listen to live versions as much, it's nicer to have a bit of a change. And
mm.
yeah, that's kind of my like. And again, her voice. Oh, lovely.
Yes, no, you're totally right. I think it does it um it kind of demands your attention almost because it's so intimate, stripped back, personal
Mm,
that it's like it it almost is telling you, no, no, you need to listen to me. You need to because I'm singing this to you, and it definitely has that feeling to it where you can't not be drawn into it. And yeah, you're right. Such a beautiful voice. I love the like she has it in the I think it's the pre-chorus. Her voice kind of like so she like jumps up like maybe an octave or something. Um
yeah.
and that's like when I heard that I was just like, "Oh my God, you nailed that." And you like nail that every time. When someone can use their voice that well, that kind of skillfully, it takes practice. It takes work to do that. That you can't it takes work, you know. It's an instrument in the same way that any other instrument is to hone your talent to get that to be able to do it but in a way that means that you can keep doing it again and again and again and again for years to come rather than destroy your voice within a few years of singing. I've completely gone off on a tangent, but yes, I think some people do have those voices that are just they're built different. They're so they have a quality to them that not everyone has, and it's really good to hear people who have that and can use it
And
and
can
create
share
something
that with
beautiful. Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'm gonna hit you up with a slightly different one.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen
All right.
by Stromae.
Yes, I think that's right.
Um, I did a double take because I just assumed that this was something that was like recommended for me that and it wasn't something you'd put in.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't like I didn't go, oh yeah, this is Chorus's music. Like I don't know. It just took me by
Surprise.
surprise. I was just like fun and kind of silly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just was like, hang on. Oh, that was my reaction to the
Mm.
to listening to it for the first time. It's like, oh, I see what's happening here. Um, yeah, sorry, that was really like terrible description of the song. That was just
No,
my
no.
reaction.
I definitely
Do you
get
want
it.
to like help me out here brain wise and
Yeah, I
actually explain
my so the story it's very straight. basically we were at work, and I said to one of my friends, something had happened. For some reason, I had the one of the pieces from Carmen in my head, from the
Yeah.
opera. So like, people might have heard it. I think it's the Habanera. I forget. I've never actually watched the whole thing, but I know some of these pieces. Um, and so I had that in my head for some reason. I told my friend, and then he comes back later on. He's like, "Oh well, here's something that will you'll enjoy," and it was this song, and it's like that piece, but taken and made into like this hip hop kind of thing almost, and like
Yeah.
it's really quite fun and different.
And
And I just
with
instantly I
modern
was like,
lyrics.
I fucking love this.
It is fun. Like it is kind of silly because it's just so there must be a term for when you re-envision a song like in a different genre. There must be like
Yeah, I
a
don't know.
term for that.
I think he's really cool and inventive, and does some interesting things with his music, and this definitely yeah, takes something and transforms it in so many ways into this something different. Um Lyrically, it's in French. Um and so so I'm very reliant upon like I
Oh,
watched the music
genius,
video
the
for it
conversion.
first of all. So I was like, okay, I think I understand what's going on. And then I went back and like looked for the translation. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And essentially, to give a very brief overview, the opera itself is about this. It's a story of essentially this woman who is beautiful and all manner of things, whatever. And this soldier comes along one day and falls in love with her. Um, and thinks she's amazing, whatever. And so completely falls for her. Um, and then so they go on, they have this thing, and then she decides actually she really loves someone else. So she leaves him, goes for this other guy, whatever. And it's that classic thing of the soldier is so completely destroyed by jealousy and overcome by it that he can't possibly allow that to happen, and ends up basically killing her because it's like, if I can't have you, no one can, kind of thing. Um, and it's all about like love and its destructive potential, really, and how it can do these crazy things to you and turn even the seemingly most rational person into an emotional mess. Um, so it's quite an interesting one, and the song itself is like, it plays around with it, so it reimagines it in the modern world. So it talks more about social media and like being a public figure in the modern world and being on Twitter and like likes and retweets and all that kind of stuff, and how for so many people you become dependent on people liking your content or whatever to feel loved. And when that starts disappearing from you, you're like, oh, I need to get that back. I need to do anything. I'll do anything to make sure I can get that back on that high again. And it's like Kardashian culture almost, Everyone knows you, everyone sees you, and everyone is like, oh, you're amazing. When you start becoming less relevant, you have to do something to become relevant again. And so the song is very much about that. But it's you wouldn't know that unless you'd done what I do and go and look at weird tangents. And the song itself is just very fun, and you should listen to it.
Yeah.
And it's
I
like
think
10 years old as well, so it's not even like a new song.
no way. I didn't realise that. I assumed it was new.
Now, tell me, at what point did I lose you during all of that?
I was suddenly thinking about opera. As soon as you started talking about Carmen, I was like, yeah, I was thinking about back to my opera module in third year. And that's probably where I lost it.
There it is. There it is. Well, I'm not sorry. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Shall I hit you up?
I was just gonna say with the track, like, so I'd have the like Good Morning and Danger, like while I'd be on the train romanticizing the journey, and then Carmen would be like as you first get off the train, and it's fucking crazy because the trains have been that's all I'm gonna say recently. So it's normally hell at Euston. So it's quite fun to have this because I'm like positively bouncing through the crowd.
You suddenly need to be a lot more aware, right? Like up until the point where you hit Euston, you can switch off a bit, but when you need to get off the train and get moving, you need to.
I was listening to metal originally, like.
Yeah, you were saying before like, you were listening to like metal.
But now, like, I don't know. I've kind of. I want something a bit more positive, like uplifting, instead of because I feel like the metal was making me get angry with people instead of just like. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's quite a fun track to bounce around busy train stations.
Very good. Very good. I'll recommend it to the train people.
Do it.
We need to play that all the time at Euston. Let's go for "Jealous of My Friends" by B. Miller.
I love this song.
We spoke about B. Miller once or twice before.
Yeah, That Bitch.
Yeah.
Not
that's
B.
the name
Miller,
of the song. That's not just
the song.
Yeah.
And actually, I remember we did a post saying about like, what was your favourite song that we mentioned in the podcast? And Sarah said that the B. Miller song.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Fun facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song, I actually sent it to Piers because I thought he might like it. I guess it's, it's about comparing your life. Yeah, he did, which, he doesn't always like the same kind of songs as me, but I thought he might like it. Because it's, it's about looking at all your friends' lives and thinking, oh, they're doing better than me. They've like and being jealous of them essentially. Why don't I have what they have? And but if more specific than that, it's about being in the music industry and seeing your friends like maybe doing better than you or whatever. I guess that's kind of yeah. I
you're right.
Yeah, that's kind of why I liked the song and just thought it's quite a niche thing to relate to, I guess, but also in a wider context. Like a lot of people can compare, like not compare. A lot of people can relate to comparing their lives to their friends and thinking that their friends. The thing is, they probably think like, oh yeah, my friends are doing so much better than me, like their lives look amazing, and then their friends are probably looking at their lives and thinking the exact same. So
well, I mean, so I listened to it and I was like, damn, I feel this in myself, because horrible as it sounds, like I have three friends which are getting married this year. Quite close together. There's like a run of them. Cats being one of them. And so you hear about that, and I have friends who are getting engaged, and I've got friends who are buying houses, and you can't help, as much as it is terrible as it sounds, there is a part of me that sits there sometimes and feels jealous of it. There is a part of me that sits there and feels like
why them?
Frustrated.
Why not me?
Yeah, and it's like you don't want it instead of them, but everyone else is there, and you're like, why am I not there? What did I do wrong? And you think back, and you're like, where did I mess up to not end up at this same place? Because everyone else has got here, so I must have done something wrong, rather than it's just how things have gone, and like it doesn't work that way. But you can't help but start comparing yourself to other people, and especially your friends and things, because these are people you speak to every day or quite often. These people whose lives you follow. Uh, so yeah, it's not the music industry, but I 100% understand it. And that bit, um, I know you're not supposed to say it, and honestly, I hate it. Yeah, that's absolutely because it's the guilt that comes with that. It's the guilt of sat there sitting there and thinking, no, I want my friends to be happy, and they are
Yeah.
happy. This is good. You shouldn't be feeling the way that you do. But in the back of your mind, you can't help but sit there and think, but I fucking want that.
Yeah.
Why can't I have that? And it's a difficult balance to strike. And it's not something
Yeah.
that I'm necessarily the most comfortable talking about because, I mean, in our case, it for me to come to you and be like, by the way, I have a little bit of jealousy over this whole thing. Like, what are you gonna do about that? What do you possibly? It's not because I don't want you to have any of these things. I'm actually really happy for you to have these things. I'm excited for you. I'm really like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. But I can't. I do in the back of my mind, always there. It's just like, lucky for some, and it's like, no, I don't want that. But it is
But
there.
I've like had the same with you, like with your job and you getting promoted and things like that. I was
Mm,
like, oh, fuck him. No, not
mm.
fuck him.
No,
But
but yeah,
like,
yeah.
um, you doing well in that level, and also like, I think you have a really good moral compass, and I think you have like one of the best minds in terms of not mental health
I was
wise.
gonna say. I
But
was like, have you spoken to me before?
but like in your outlook on life about like issues, and I feel like even if it sacrifices your mental health at times, like you choose to stay educated on tough topics, and you like are always trying to contribute towards a better life, better society, and all of that lot. And sometimes like I feel like I become lazy with that, whereas like I feel like you are consistent with it, So I get jealous that
Yeah.
you are able um to do that, and
Mm,
yeah, and stay
mm. I think
educated
it's
and
it's quite natural, to feel because I don't think any of us can help but compare ourselves to our friends. I know people who have, like you said, done that, and I've not known it, compared themselves to me. Like, oh, but
yeah.
you've managed this, and my response is always, like, no, that's not. Don't do that. That's not fair to you because that's underplay. So we all know it, that feeling of comparing yourself to other people, and it could be anything. It's
Yeah.
like there will almost certainly be points in people's like even being in a relationship. I have to imagine that every now and again, looking at someone who's not in a relationship going off and doing something, there must be a tiny bit in the back of your mind that's like, oh, well, I don't fucking have that luxury to just like go and do stuff. What the hell?
100%. Like, I originally thought that I was going to go and live in America for like 3 to 6 months
Mm-hmm.
with work, like going and touring, doing music stuff, and like probably have a little bit more of a, like, uh, traveling
Yeah.
sort of yeah, flitting around the world kind of lifestyle, and going wherever the work was, um, and then I've got to it and it's like, well, if I don't want to be a tour manager
Mm.
because I don't want to leave my dogs and I don't want to leave Piers,
Mm.
and then you're like, oh, I don't know if I'd still want to do that, or whether like you know what I mean. So you do like
Yeah.
wonder how your relationship has affected that your not goals, but like things you want to do in life. But then I
Mm.
guess like that changes as you grow older anyway, and what you want. Like, now I want stability. So, but yeah, no, it does definitely. Sometimes you think, oh, being single would be easier, but then it's like I'd still have to live with myself, and I'm far more difficult than my partner. So
Exactly. Exactly. So
yeah, no, I get what
yeah,
you mean.
it's. I think everyone in different ways can probably relate to that thing, because I think inherent to all of us as human beings is this, not even desire, but compulsion to compare ourselves to other people, and to work out how, yeah, it's like a social media thing. We all assume that everyone else is living their best life because that's all we ever see. Um,
Yeah.
and so all the bad shit, we don't see it. And yeah, if you saw all the bad shit, you wouldn't necessarily be as jealous anymore. So
Oh yeah.
you know, it's like that,
I've
really, isn't
seen
it?
like friends who have got engaged and like posted really like picturesque things about their
Yeah,
relationship, like, oh, buying house, blah blah blah, doing this, and then they've broken up, but like there's been no like, my life is perfect, my life is perfect. Oh, our relationship's gone to shit, but
yeah.
you would have no idea because like it had
You're like,
been
where the
played
hell did
off
it
as
all go
like
so
we're
wrong?
doing, yeah, like it'd been played off as being so great that you kind of like, oh, I would have had no idea about that.
Yeah,
And I think they're like, I always with the podcast try and be quite transparent about mine and Pierce's relationship and having arguments and not always agreeing on things, because I think sometimes when people are posting things that are so picture perfect that you then strive to have that, and that's not realistic.
yeah,
um and if you could sabotage healthy, happy relationships because you are trying to seek a situation where you are going out with someone who like you never have an argument with because you completely agree about everything and just everything. Yeah, I don't know, that's just like one tiny part of
yeah.
that. Yeah,
You're right,
sorry,
totally. No, you're
tangent.
totally right.
um what are we talking about?
We're talking about music. We're recording a
Shall we
Walter Rights podcast.
Shall we? I think one of the dogs is blown off. It'll be Pippin. You stinky fuck. Right,
All
next
right.
song. Your last song.
Yes.
Welcome to the DCC by
Mm.
Nothing But Thieves. Who would have guessed?
Who would have
Um,
guessed?
what was I going to say about this song? Oh yeah, it's quite different, isn't it, from their
It is
normal
quite
stuff?
different. I was interested to
Um,
hear your thoughts on this one.
so I don't know if I would have necessarily thought it was Nothing But Thieves if I hadn't seen
Mm.
that it was Nothing But Thieves. Um, because it's quite 80s.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Like, I think it kind of gives off disco 80s vibes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the telltale is obviously Connor's voice.
Yes. Exactly.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just okay. So I put in my notes for some reason when I hear the song, I have the Thriller music video in my
Yes. Okay.
head.
Yeah.
And not just the like, okay, not just the Thriller music video. Did I make you watch Boy at some point, the Kiwi film?
No, I don't think you did actually.
Oh, okay. So like
Should I watch it? Is
the,
that what you're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
it's like I feel like the humor will be up your, like, it'll be your taste, it'll be up
Mm-hmm.
your street. I don't know where I was going. Up your street, up your alley. I think that's what I was
Yeah.
going with. And the guy who directed it, oh, what's his fucking name? He's in the Marvel films. He's the Rock guy, the Stone guy,
Oh, okay.
and like, so Pierce has actually made me watch a couple of his like films or stuff that he's been in, and I just fucking love everything that he does. So
Yeah.
yeah, just love him. But he, I think he directed the film and is one of the main guys in it.
Okay.
But at the end, they like reenact the Thriller music video, so I have that going on in
Specifically
my
that.
brain.
I do get what you mean. It is very 80s kind of, yeah. 80s. I don't know what I was trying to work out what I'd call it, and I was like, dance track pop thing. Like, I don't know what I would call it other than 80s.
I put makes you want to dance disco beat 80s.
Just yeah,
That's
it's so weird. I was just trying to work out. Yeah, I don't know, but I agree. I wouldn't necessarily have said Nothing But Thieves had I not seen the who it was and the voice,
yeah.
of course. Um, but I vibe with it. I really do vibe with it. I like the It feels like it's some kind of. I don't know if there is an album out already or if it's going to be. I think it's going
It's
to be.
on the way.
Um, I get the feeling it's going to be like a concept kind of like album kind of thing. Yeah, like there's going to be some.
Pull a Coldplay, do something wacky.
Yeah, there's going to be some kind of overarching thing to it. There's some. I can't even put a thing on it, but I'm excited to hear it, and I like it. I had that kind of almost, you know, the game Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I had that kind of in my head almost, like that kind of very futuristic, crazy neon world where everything's fucking bright colors and
Actually,
there's
that makes sense.
flying fucking cars and shit and all that stuff.
Like
Like,
Tron.
yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so I definitely had a lot of that stuck in my head, but it's unexpected for Nothing But Thieves and what I've come to expect from them, but I think they make it work in this song. I'm interested to see where it goes.
I yeah. Ditto. Samesies.
Samesies. I hate myself for that. Shall I hit you up for the last one?
Why not? No, I don't think you should. Fuck
All right.
you. No.
Well, I will. Baby Said by Maneskin. Ah, Maneskin.
Do you hate me for this one?
No,
Because I, you don't hate me for this one because,
no.
like, Piers hates me because he can't get it out of his head, and
I absolutely know what he means. Fucking
um,
rooted in my head. The whole.
and
It will not leave.
I keep like singing the guitar really
Mm-hmm.
like in really random like moments, and then he just looks at me. He's like, "Cat, you know I'm fucking writing an album at the moment. You need to
Mm-hmm.
fucking stop because I'm gonna start writing that in my songs. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's an original idea." And then he started humming it, and he just looked at me. It's like, "You
This
fuck."
is your fault.
I just fucking love Måneskin. Like they're genuinely one of my favorite bands, and they're playing the O2 in May.
Yeah, I saw some of this. Aren't they playing like Glastonbury as well at some point or something?
Oh, don't even, because I really want to see them. But so the O2 is a bit of an awkward one to get to.
Yeah.
It's more getting back from it because it's like, say the concert doesn't finish to 11 and the
Yeah.
last train is at 11, you have to get back to Euston to get the train home, and then you're leaving early, and it's just a bit of a pain unless you're like driving or something. um so, and also the O2 is always really expensive for tickets.
Yeah.
And I don't really like going to arenas for gigs either. Don't hate me, but like I think with Coldplay, like it's they make it an arena show. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like with, and same with like Slipknot or like bands who've been in the game for a long time,
Yeah.
and have endless like Muse with their budget. My God. Um, but I think with like Maneskin, I think I'd prefer to go to somewhere like Coco or like a medium, not a medium sized venue,
Yeah.
that's a large venue, but like a um like the O2 in the O2 Forum, Kentish Forum, whatever one that is, like one of those venues, you know, where you can
Yeah.
get stuck in and you can fuck around and have a good time. I just think like that's the kind of, you need, it's rock. It's fucking modern rock. You need to do it right. You don't need to be stood up in a bloody nosebleed chair. Um, yeah, sorry. This is really random.
Yeah, you really got into that.
I just love Maneskin, and this song is catchy. Everything Maneskin does is catchy, and I don't know if I like tend to listen to albums too much anymore. Like I like a bit of variety in my playlist, but
Mm.
like I will happily put on Maneskin and just leave it on shuffle
Mm.
and yeah, go through. They haven't even got that many tracks out, but like
No.
I feel entertained.
I
So
I have this thing with them where, and it's rare for me to say it, um, where I'm almost like, can they release a bad song? Can they
oh,
release
I
a
was
song that
scared.
fucking sucks, please? Like, I need one that just doesn't hit in the same way, so I can be like, oh, you are humans after all. Because yeah, I'm with you. I think they're really fucking great, actually. Um, this song instantly got stuck in my head. Like, one of the problems I have with them almost is like their song's finished, and I'm like, no, 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 I'm not ready for you to finish yet.
More?
Let's back around again. I can listen. I listened to this song like a few times on a leave, and I was like, I have to stop now, but I don't want to because it just is so catchy. The riff in it, the bass line, fucking just gets stuck in my head. Like, oh my god, it's so fucking catchy, and like they have some of the best lyrics as well. I just think they fucking and I love the chorus because the first time round I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, and then I actually listened to it and I was like, did they say that? And I looked it up. So if you have any children in the room, get
Yeet
rid of them.
them now.
Um, Baby said, when you're talking, I go dead. Shut your mouth, give me your head. Hmm.
Mhm.
Baby said,
Yeah.
let me taste your silhouette. You can talk between my legs. Hmm.
I know.
I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, don't fucking hold back. Let's go. Let's fucking. They're
You
so
know,
just. They don't fuck. They don't fuck around. They don't mess around with
like
like
taboo. They don't.
yeah.
It's
And
so
there's no
taboo. They
euphemism.
don't
It's
care.
straight in. It's like, boom. There you go.
I
And
think when people say like talk dirty to me, this is like what they want. Not like, oh
no,
your cock's so big.
yeah,
That's what they want.
yeah, exactly. Oh
Call
god,
me daddy.
even that
No.
sentence just made me cringe.
That's why I had to do it with a weird voice because I just couldn't like.
Oh god. But I love how they always have this like story behind their like songs. You know, there's always something there that actually is like a thing. So the whole thing of this song is that, you know, this guy's fallen in love with a girl, but she's basically only interested in sex and doesn't really. Also, I love that like twisting it on its head, kind of like the classic. Oh, the girl wants something deeper and emotional, but the guy's just there for sex. And actually, it's like flipping it on its head, and it's like the
Oh
guy
yeah.
who really wants this emotional connection. And she's like, no, no, I just want to have sex, nothing else.
I know plenty of horny gals who are
Oh
like
yes.
that, who are like, men, stop deeping it. Like, I just
Hmm.
want sex. I'm like, you pop off.
Yeah, you do
You,
you.
you get what you want.
You do. You do you. I
So
like it. It's got
it
that
is
energy
nice
to it.
that that's being spoken about as well.
It's a strong
Um,
female, which I think they've done in a few songs where it's like that strong feminist kind of thing of like, yeah, you know what, women can do this too.
yeah.
They're just
Well,
as capable as men of doing this like I just want the sex thing, and that's okay.
and Victoria.
Mm,
Pierce
yes.
always looks concerned when I'm like, but look at her. Look at what she's doing. It's like, in your box. Get in
Hmm.
your box. Stop.
Hmm.
I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, sorry. It's like I want to be her,
I'm
and
with you. I love them. I think they're such a good.
ugh,
You know.
they seem chill as well. Like I really hope they don't have some like band argument and like split up because I feel like they seem like a really good dynamic of people.
They have a great energy between them, and they're definitely a good relationship and good yeah, their mindset, their view on the world, everything like that is really fucking good. Shouts out to Eurovision for bringing us that wonder.
Well, and they'd been on like X Factor, Italian X Factor, I think, before Eurovision, which
Yeah.
I find surprising. Like, I mean, they're obviously doing well before Eurovision, which I think is becoming more popular now because they've got Mae Muller, who's like played Reading, I swear, who's then going on Eurovision. I don't get how Eurovision works anymore. I always thought it was like people who are meant to be unknown who go on it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I know why I'm yawning. Right.
Well, it's been a while, so you know, I can understand that. But we're done. We're through.
We're done.
We did it.
We made it. We got through it with several detours.
Several detours.
Scenic detours. We went the scenic.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of scenic detours in there. Yeah.
Oh, I've got the fucking riff in my head.
Yeah, to be honest, I've had the second that I said the name, it was in my head, and then when I said the lyrics just now, that's like. Anyway, I'm probably gonna go listen to that song a lot more, so that's all good.
I think I'm gonna learn how to play it, so then I can play it to death and then not have it in my head anymore.
That's good. Use it. Use that energy.
I'll do it.
I love that.
And I want to play guitar more anyway, so it'll be a good excuse.
It's a win-win-win.
Yes, it is indeed.
Well, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been emotional.
It's been alright.
Live, laugh, love.
Live, love, love. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.